What's up, Storm fans? Bryant Cook here, and I am joined by the one and only that I'm aware of, Alex McKinley. What's up, Alex?
Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy to be here.
If you're unaware of Alex McKinley, Alex recently won the Vintage Eternal Weekend. All around terrific Storm player, even better person. Alex, I really appreciate you joining me here today for this donation deck from Tyler Carden, who's an Ad Nauseam Tendrils specialist, and well, Alex has cast a Tendrils of Agony or two in his lifetime.
Yeah, Tendrils is great, Dark Ritual is great, Storm is fun, Legacy's great. I've really been enjoying this iteration of Legacy post Ragavan.
Yeah, it's been
It's
good.
been good.
So we're gonna do a little bit of a deck tech first, and then we'll hop in and play some games. So this Ad Nauseam Tendrils deck is a little bit different from some stuff we've been seeing recently. And for starters, Alex, free main deck Veil of Summer. I personally like that, and it plays really well into a strategy that we're both really familiar with, which is Wishclaw Talisman with a Veil of Summer. Alex and I both play a lot of the Epic Storm, and while that's something we do quite a bit, is use Wishclaw Talisman to go get that Veil of Summer at instance. So, other than the Veil of Summer, we see both Empty and Tendrils of Agony in the main deck. I'm guessing the Empty's there mostly for the Veil of Summer, but also for the Delver-ish matchups. So we'll see how that goes today. Alex, do you have any other thoughts on the main deck?
Yeah, Empty the Warrants is in a really interesting spot right now, especially with Wishclaw Talisman. On the one hand, it's a really powerful game one condition, but on the other, there's been a trend among, especially the Delver decks recently, to play 2 to 3 copies of End the Festivities, which that's just a really clean answer to Empty.
Yeah, for sure. So in post-war games, you're not really looking to use Wishclaw with Empty, but in game ones, I'd bet it's probably fine for the most part. And then another interesting inclusion is the Reign of Filth, which is something we saw a lot of during the Run and 6 era, but has sort of died down a little bit. So the reason to run Reign of Filth is that it is, one, a bad Rite of Flame on turn 2, the wrong ROF, so to speak. Because it makes 2 black mana, sacrificing your lands, but it enables Cabal Ritual's Threshold, which is pretty important. So it allows for quick wins. I don't know how I feel about the card. I don't have strong opinions if it's good or not, but it's interesting. And it's competing with the slot with the third copy of Preordain. You could argue that it's competing with Wishclaw Talisman as well. I'm interested to see how it plays today.
Yeah, I think it's like a very serviceable card. I think it's very different when control decks of the modern era are also playing Wasteland, so lands are just ending up in your graveyard like from almost every matchup.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell where that card is going to land. I do think that this sideboard is really interesting, though.
Why do you think that?
Well, first off, we have a bunch of new cards, which I know that like new cards can be scary sometimes, but Peer into the Abyss is really, really powerful, as we see in the Epic Storm. And it's a really good alternative to Ad Nauseam, especially in those matchups where your life total is being pressured, such as the Delver matchup, or maybe something like Burn.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a couple more mana, but it's probably worth it for the payoff, because Ad Nauseam is kind of consistent, even in the deck named after Ad Nauseam.
I would agree with that. Without from Mox and Mox Opal, Ad Nauseam can be a pretty big risk in this deck. We see 3 4-drops. So, I mean, even the Epic Storm has increased its mana curve recently, or well, its standard deviation at least. But we have the utilities to make Ad Nauseam really effective. Where an Ant, maybe Peer into the Abyss is the card they should be playing at this.
Yeah, the other card that deserves a shout here is the Modern Horizons 2 enchantment Dress Down, which it's just a really powerful way to shut off all of the hate bears that your opponents could be playing. It answers all the Thalias, Archon of Emeria, Collector Roof, Gaddock Teague, all those cards, and you do the weird trick where you can play it at your opponent's end of turn and get the effect all throughout your own turn, and it even draws a card itself. It's kind of a similar function to Chain Vapor and Echoing Truth, but it's more of a board wipe fashion, but only good against creatures, whereas Echoing Truth and Chain of Vapor can also be used against artifacts like Chalice the Void or Trinisphere.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually a little bit shocked today that the list featuring 3 copies of Wishclaw Talisman isn't playing Massacre when Death and Taxes has been doing quite well recently. So, Alex, we've cut Massacre recently in the Epic Storm. Ant is a little bit of a slower beast. So I was surprised by that, That said, Alex, you know this more about me than most people. I love the versatility of my cards. And I do think Dress Down being more versatile is really big game because you can side it in against Doomsday or other strategies as well, which likely gives it the nod over Massacre, in my opinion. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, if you cast Dress Down in response to Thassa's Oracle, it doesn't have an enters the battlefield trigger, and then your Doomsday opponent is probably very sad if that happens.
Yeah.
Uh, it's
So,
it's a very powerful, got infinite corner cases, which builds it up to be just like good all the time, basically.
yeah. So when we're looking at this deck list, I see one fatal flaw to it. And Tyler, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but I'm just sharing a thought that I have before we begin. We could see if I'm wrong at the end. So, in general, in Magic the Gathering, you want to build a sideboard that has a bunch of nails in the sideboard, and you just want those cards to be super effective, and you want them to be, like really, really crucial when you draw them. This sideboard, we have 9 cards in it that are effectively the same card. We have 2 Chain of Vapor, 2 Echoing Truth, 2 Dress Down, 3 Abrupt Decay. They're all just permanent hate answers. And effectively, these cards are all the same role. They do the same thing for the most part. Yes, they're slightly different, but Alex, it's 9 slots doing the same job. To me, that says that this is not a well constructed sideboard, Tyler. I'm sorry, we're friends, but I don't love that. To me, like, yes, Dress Down can be used against Doomsday where these can't, but maybe you keep Dress Down, but then you reconsider some of these slots. So then you have 7 slots over here to look at. So I think that Echoing Truth and Abrupt Decay fill a very similar role. They both answer Chalice Sun 2. Maybe you don't board Abrupt Decay in versus Wasteland decks, and it's only for blue decks, but you have 2 green sources in your main deck. You can board in Abrupt Decay versus non-blue decks. I would just like better usage out of my sideboard. I've been rambling for a minute or so now. Alex, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you could play cards. Like if you look at the sideboard, it's kind of devoted to beating hate permanents and then beating other combo decks, and then you have this random period into the abyss lying around. You could devote a couple of slots to beating fair blue decks, like with Carpet of Flowers. That card's just an all-star. Unlocking your cantrips and letting you hit that threshold faster by letting you cast more spells ahead of curve.
Yeah.
You could also consider some newer cards if you wanted even more variety in your removal effects, and cards like Boseiju, which I think is really powerful because it's uncounterable and doesn't deal you damage off of Ad Nauseam. And like the fail case of playing it as a land is like still pretty good.
Yeah, why don't we add in Boseiju right now? So I actually own some, so let's just add them in. Whoops, that's a Wishclaw Talisman. So let's add in a
Yeah,
few copies.
Bryant's a big lucker who's been opening Boseijus from his packs.
That is true. So I think we can either cut, well, 3 Abrupt Decay is a lot, so let's shave that down to 2, and then let's try shaving an Echoing Truth. I do agree with you, Alex. I do think that this deck should be playing Carpet in the board. It's just so good against the Delver strategies, and it makes Peer into the Abyss way better. Obviously, Ant is really good at making black mana between Cabal Ritual and Dark Ritual, and then obviously the Rain of Filth. But here's still a 7 mana card you're trying to resolve against the Daze Spell Pierce deck. I would like to see some carpets in this sideboard. I don't think we need to be playing Echoing Truth at all, for what it's worth. Um, I do question 3 Fluster, 2 Surgical. I think it's probably better as 2-2. And then maybe you cut 1 Abrupt Decay or 1 Boseiju. And I would be playing 3 copies of Carpet.
Yeah, there's definitely a tension in this deck between playing one ofs and two ofs between Infernal Tutor and Wishclaw Talisman because they ask very different things of you in deck construction.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm struggling if we should change Tyler's deck list even more because Tyler didn't really donate for this. Ooh, did I cut a card from the main deck? I did. Whoops. We added the Wishclaw back. Didn't mean to do that. But I do think there should be 3 copies of Carpet in the board. All right, I'm sorry, Tyler. We're going to make a small adjustment. Tyler's going to be so disappointed. Tyler, I appreciate it. So let's add some carpets to the board because I do think that those should be in there. So, and if they're bad, then Tyler can be like, see, I told you so. But I don't think that will be the case. So let's cut this Echoing Truth. That's 17 cards. I think 2 Fluster, 2 Surgical is fine. And then it comes down to, would you rather have Boseiju versus Permanent Hate decks or this Abrupt Decay? And while I think Boseiju is better against everything that isn't creatures, and Abrupt Decay is better versus blue decks with creatures like Meddling Mage, but who even plays that card anymore? And if you're playing Boseiju and Dress Down, you already have creatures covered, so I think I'm okay going down to 1 Decay. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this all makes sense. And even in the combo matchups, we definitely have plenty of cards to board out. Like we can cut the Empty, we can cut the Rain of Filth, we can cut a couple of Preordains, and then that's all of our slots. Or cut Veil of Summer if that card is bad.
Yeah, I think Rain of Filth is actually pretty good in the combo matchups because it does speed up your average combo turn.
That's fair.
We can nitpick that later. Do you have any final thoughts before we hop on into round number 1?
No, let's go play some games.
I will see all of you in match number 1. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. That said, there's no better way of showing your support than becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks, and we get to keep making combo content. The perks get better and better each level you go up. They also stack. To start off, with our Storm Fan tier, you unlock our private members section of our Discord, which comes with a highlighted user profile and then some awesome badges and emotes for YouTube. Looking for sideboard help? Become a Stormtrooper, our middle tier, for 2 sideboard guides of your deck choice every single month, on top of 50% off donation decks. Did we mention you also get 10% off merchandise from our shop? With our top tier, the Combo Cabal, you get a free donation deck every single month, 15% off merchandise from our shop, early access to private deck lists, and the most valuable perk in my opinion, videos early. That's right, you heard it, early access to all videos. But maybe sweet perk, secret deck list, early access to videos isn't for you, but you'd still like to show your appreciation. Make sure to check out theepicstorm.com/shop for card singles and Storm swag. Please don't forget to use your membership discounts. Finally, if you want to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel, make sure to visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks, where all you have to do is attach your TXT file and pick a donation tier. With our Epic tier, you can even join me in a video to showcase your bold brew in person and explain the ins and outs of your strategy. Card availability won't be an issue due to our new sponsor, Card Hoarder. With Card Hoarder, renting is super easy. If you're looking to get into Magic Online, there isn't a better, more affordable solution than Card Hoarder. Fun fact, you can rent the Epic Storm for 7 tickets a week, which is just a great deal. There are many ways you can support us. Just pick whatever is best for you. In the meantime, let's play some Magic. Alright, Alex, we're in match number 1 with our modified Ad Nauseam Tendrils deck. Tyler, please don't hate me. But we're on the draw against Senior Tony, I don't know. Alex, what do you think of this hand?
This hand has a lot of business and not a lot of mana, but I think I'm inclined to keep hands like that. Like, we're going to find more mana, right?
I hope so. You said to keep, so if we lose, I get to like pin all of the blame on you.
I'm not the one pressing the buttons, but, you know. I don't mind drawing a land here. We can definitely play a turn 2 Wishclaw Talisman. But,
yeah. Not what the doctor ordered. Alright, I don't mind land number 3. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's unclear if we're playing against Delver or a fair control deck. Definitely run into different problems if we play out a Wishclaw Talisman early. And our opponent playing planes here makes me like not want to play with the Talisman due to playing around something like Prismatic Ending.
I think we want to ponder into Thoughtseize.
I like that.
I like the Brainstorm here. I'm going to keep that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't particularly like this third land, and lots of stuff to get rid of with this Brainstorm and reshape our hand.
Main deck Flusta.
Main deck wow. So I wonder if this could be like one of the Jeskai Breacher decks. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with our Brainstorm next turn. If that our opponent passes with 3 mana up, casting the Brainstorm might be game losing. But it looks like that's not going to happen, so.
Under on the stack. For those of you that are unaware, Alex is originally from the Boston area, so when you cast cards where you can sound like you're from Boston, you're supposed to. Ooh, Veil was a good draw. Brainstorm. Alright, okay. So I think I actually want to put back the Wishclaw. And probably the Petal.
Yeah, so the plan is just to fetch and cast Preordain this turn. I think I'm into that.
So a question
Notably,
here
our
is,
opponent is Brainstorm locked current. Or sorry, they pondered. They missed on a land.
yeah, so
Uh,
something we could do here is grab the island in case they're back to basics deck, but then we don't have the red source for Past in Flames later. I think I'm just gonna risk it when after they've missed a land and play Preordain off the Volk.
I think I like this because we wouldn't have a black anyway, and I think I like both these cards, or at least one of them.
Yeah, I think we take them both. So next turn, it's weird because Infernal Tutor does not play well with Veil of Summer. You can't use it the same way that you do in the Epic Storm. Where against blue decks, you're really just using it as a silence type effect. And while with Teferi being cast, we have to cast it as a... But it's really what we're looking to do.
Yeah, so I think we just start there and see what happens. Force a negation.
I think we just
All right.
push, right? Like, we can
Yeah.
get them to try to counter the Past in Flames. And then cast that old Past in Flames.
So if our opponent counters this here, 6, 7, 8, we can go find Lion's Eye Diamond with Infernal Tutor.
Correct, because we're
And,
one storm short of Tendrils.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of counting out there.
And you're 1 mana short of Infernal Tutor for Infernal Tutor, because we only had 5.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's flashback, or if we were playing Pauper, jumpstart this Past in Flame. And the opponent can see...
Let's go.
Okay, so we're facing a traditional blue deck. I don't know exactly the board plan here. I don't know if you're supposed to board in Flusters to stop like the Days Undoing combo, because we saw Days Undoing being pitched to 4.
True. So I think we definitely want our carpets.
I would agree with that. I think it's like
we,
sort of free to board in like a couple copies of Boseiju.
Yeah, and we definitely want the Decay.
Are you interested in Flusterstorm?
I have no idea, because it's definitely a card that like gets made unplayable by Teferi, and that's really awkward.
Agreed.
So how do we want to board?
I think it's pretty easy to swap out the Reign of Filth.
Yep.
It's just like not really a great card here in my opinion. And then we're 5 over. So I think we can board out the Preordains because they're like sort of filler cards. And then we need 3 more. In my opinion, and you know, huge expert Ant player. Played it my entire life. He said jokingly. I think you can board out at least 1 land because we boarded in Boseiju.
Yeah, and I think do you board out a fetch land, or do you board out the swamp?
You could probably board out the swamp. That said, I am worried that they're a back to basics deck. I could be wrong.
Sure.
If they are back to basics deck, we do have Abrupt Decay and 2 Boseiju, so maybe just boarding up the basic is fine.
Yeah, we could also like trim on a Lotus Petal, theoretically.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the next cards that I mentioned, because we're boarding in better mana. So I think you're allowed to just like board out a petal or 2, because we have these carpets. I've also seen players shave Cabal Ritual, but I think here we can actually just board out a Wishclaw versus the Prismatic deck.
Yep, it's not like our opponent's going to have like Endurance or stuff like that.
Well, are we sure that they're not banned? Do we see red out of them? There's like really 2 lists at the moment. There's Jeskai and Bant.
That's fair.
But if all the games could be as easy as that one, I'd love it. And this hand's pretty good. Unfortunately, we have Alex's favorite land in our Volcanic.
Yeah, Volcanic Island. So good at casting almost no cards in this deck.
Okay, Thoughtseize. I do like that one. So let's search up an Underground Sea and cast it.
We want Bayou.
Oh, too late. But yeah, Bayou would have been good.
Do we have another Thoughtseize getting answered by Flusterstorm?
Brainstorm.
So our opponent also fetched a duel here, which suggests that they definitely want to cast a white spell, and they might not be on any sort of back to basics plan.
Yeah. So something that Alex mentioned is getting Bayou. And it's interesting. So I'll be honest, Bayou wasn't on my mind because in my mind I was like, well, we need black for Infernal Tutor, Dark Ritual, all this good stuff. But Bayou has the classic problem of being both your combo colored mana and your protection mana, and it can't do both, which is why this volcanic island is super awkward. Well, let me expand. Drag over. Okay. So surgical Narset to Fairy Hull Breacher. I won't lie. They probably have a force on top, but if we had like a Lotus Petal here, I would totally
Yeah,
maybe just take the surgical because these other cards are all super clunky.
I think I like that plan. It lets us still be on the Past in Flames plan, and we know that next turn that they can basically only have one Force of Will maximum.
Yeah. We do know
Um,
that they're on the red splash now, by the way.
yep. I
Um,
do like another Thoughtseize,
so
though
we
I'm not
can
sure if that's better.
so we can do the old or the old TES thing where we play Dark Ritual, Thought sees their force, and then
True.
wow, I can't believe they had a forcible on top of their deck. Did you see that coming?
You know, we're also not allowed to like do any sort of rotate Witchclaw Talisman tricks here. Uh, just because giving them the Witchclaw probably gives them an answer to empty. And I don't think that like 4 Storm is worth that. Or 2 more Storm is worth that.
Interesting. They didn't shuffle away the second card they brainstormed away. Or brainstorm hit. So they played Teferi. They can bounce a Goblin token here. So we're gonna swing for
Which
9,
doesn't
putting them to 9, and then they have Hull Breacher on the following turn. So if they have like a Days Undoing, that doesn't really matter anymore. So now they can play the Hull Breacher, block 1, and go to 1. Narset. Well, they decided to not play the Hull Breacher to block.
Alright.
I'll take a
1-0.
free win. 1-0. If you haven't joined them already, I would recommend opening up our description down below and joining our 7 social media networks. They're each great in their own way, but I would strongly suggest joining our Discord server. In there, you will find others just like you looking to improve their Storm game and grow as a combo community. If you're a member of our YouTube channel, you should sync your account to Discord to unlock our private member section that has the latest and greatest deck lists, concepts, and much, much more. Let's get back to comboing out. Match 2 with Alex McKinley, Eternal Weekend Champion. And Alex, I don't know what we're facing, but guess what this hand does?
It jams. Do we get Wishclaw backup for this Ad Naus?
We do not. But we do get to put Ad Nauseam on the stack, which is pretty cool. Another thing we could do, and I'm not saying we have to do this, is we could Ad Nauseam in their upkeep to play around Force and Negation, but we don't even know if they're a blue deck. So would you just peanut butter and jam here?
Yeah, let's put it on the stack.
Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual hurts my soul. And then
It's just 2 mana Rite of Flame, Bryant.
one way of looking at it. It's also shock off of Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam on the stack. No!
Oh no, it's 8 cast.
Master Thopterist.
Yeah.
Well,
So one thing we could have considered there is not cracking the Lion's Eye Diamond because we had a land drop available and we don't necessarily need.
so that is a fair thought. However, tell me the game that you win when you have Lion's Eye Diamond left and nothing else.
We have a Wishclaw Talisman. We draw 2 lands and we draw into Past in Flames.
Yeah, it's not realistic. I think you're just better off at maximizing your chances of winning than to play to this like hypothetical out that's unlikely to happen. There's Sai. Alright, I think I'm good. I've seen that they're 8 cast. We can go to the next.
Yeah. Alright. Well. 8 cast is not a great matchup.
So,
But let's see.
Boseiju is definitely a card I'm interested in. We can board in the Abrupt Decay. Is there any other card here you're really interested in? Versus, do we think that
I think
they're
I'm
like
actually interested in the Flusterstorms.
okay? Would you mind elaborating on why?
So it gets through Chalice on one, where Veil of Summer doesn't necessarily always do that. Uh, and
They do
yeah,
board
I
up
think
to
that
eight
that's about it.
forces, so
Yeah, they
I
do
don't
have
hate
go up
that.
to 8 forces, and sometimes they have some sort of Echo Breacher plan.
Okay,
But
so once again, I think we can board out the swamp here, then take out the Rain of Filth and a couple copies of Preordain. And now we're at 61. Is there another card you're interested in swapping out?
uh, maybe we can trim on a Veil. No, we can't. We got the island as well.
We could. I was going to ask, is this a good empty matchup? I don't have enough experience versus 8 cast with Ant to really know. I know that we personally, as the Epic Storm, don't do it a lot, but I don't know if it's good versus 8 cast from the.
Yeah, I think I'm down to cut empty. Like they can make infinite blockers really, really fast. So
Okay. So let's try that out. I was wondering, and I'm fine with submitting this for game 2. I guess we could have like stuck out that first game a little bit longer to see if they're a Karn build, because if they are on Karn, we could side in Chain of Vapor, but it's sort of a feel bad. And this hand is just terrific. Opponent taking a mulligan to 5. And note, while our opponent is a blue deck, that doesn't mean that you board in Carpet of Flash, which I think is sort of a trap for people that haven't played this card a lot. Just because your opponent's playing blue doesn't mean you have to board it in. 8-cast is a deck that runs Seat of the Synod, Ancient Tomb. We did see an Island in game 1, but just because they have a couple doesn't mean that it's a playable card. I actually don't like Carpet versus Show and Tell variants either, and they're blue decks. So it's definitely a pick and choose your matchup sort of card. It's not a blanket card.
yeah, it's definitely a card that gets good in matchups that go for many turns. And when that doesn't happen, like sometimes in these matchups where Emery can be kind of scary sometimes if our opponent flips certain cards to it, but we'll see what they can do here. I don't think that they get to play turn 1 Emery, right?
They would need a good draw step.
Yeah.
We showed them Lion's Eye Diamond. Draw. Ponder. So I'm actually just tempted in playing the Wishclaw here and then coming back next turn.
Yeah, I think I like that.
I'm also probably going to play the Diamond in case they draw into Chalice of the.
Yes. It's pretty rare for A-cast to put Chalice on 1, but we do just have Ad Nauseam next turn.
Hopefully the Ponder can find Memory, okay. So they milled Chalice. We're hoping that the Ponder finds a Thoughtseize or something else. But I think I actually am inclined to cast Brainstorm over Ponder now, just in case we can convert into additional resources. How do you feel about
Yep.
that?
I like starting on Brainstorm. So opponent has 2 unknowns currently. Okay.
Does this do anything good?
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. And it's 6 to Naz and 4 to Claw Veil. So we're 1 short.
I wonder if we can just get a natural Tendrils. Probably not. Yeah, we're only at 5 Storm away. Okay, so do we just put Ad Nauseam on the stack?
I think so. And maybe next turn we come back with a Past in Flames if this gets countered. Though that's going to be a little bit difficult if they put the Chalice into play.
So
But I don't think we have
thought
a
here
ton of good options at this point.
is we might have a Past in Flames line. So we have 6 mana, not counting the Bayou. So we sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond for red. Search our library, go down to 5. Past in Flames floating a black into Dark Ritual, which is +3 Storm. So that'll bring us up to 7. Wishclaw for Tendrils is not enough. Does the Thoughtseize do it actually? Hold on. So let's count this one more time. So we have 6 mana, go down to 5 mana, activate Wishclaw for Past in Flames.
Aren't you counting the Bayou? We have 7 mana.
Hold on, just disrupt me. So because I don't want to tap it if we don't have to. So we have 6 mana down to 5, Past in Flames down to 1, Dark Ritual, Thought Seas leaves us with 4 floating. Use Bayou to activate Wishclaw Talisman for... That does it.
Yes.
Alright, so... I mean, this also just, like, reduces the risk of dying on it.
Mhm.
Which I think is, like, sort of a fatal flaw of Ad Nauseam Tendrils, is that it's so unreliable to cast Ad Nauseam that you really do have to sit there and plan. Oh, they drew another force. We
Well,
could
that's brutal.
theoretically Veil here and hope to hit, but I don't
I
think...
think that's worse than just like doing something else next turn.
Well, the problem is we're getting
So like I
chalice,
guess
right?
we're getting chaliced. So I guess we have to draw into one of our 3 LEDs or 4 lotus petals.
But here's the thing. So even if we do hit Lion's Eye Diamond or Lotus Petal, our only action spell in our graveyard is Brainstorm.
That's true.
So I think we're supposed to just let it go.
Yeah.
Alright, pass the turn. That was rough.
Yeah, that was rough that they found a second Force of Will in their top couple of cards.
So, I mean, I would imagine that they play Chalice of the Void on one here, and then we're sort of just out of this game. Activating Wishclaw Tail. Okay. Oh, we're getting Karn. Alright,
Okay.
Alex, you
Yeah,
know
that's
how I
pretty
feel
good.
about this card. So we're just going to go to match number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, Karn is the
Womp
worst.
womp. Playing your favorite combo deck in Paper just got so much easier with the Epic Storm Mini Token Pack. You can pick one up at theepicstorm.com/shop for $13. It includes 64 double-sided mini tokens. That's 128 tokens total. And they include 10 black, 10 blue, 10 red, 5 green, 5 white, 3 colorless, 20 storm counters. That means that you can count your way all the way up to 20 for Grape Shot, everyone's favorite Stormwind condition, a Galvanic Relay Exile Indicator, 4 treasure tokens for Strike It Rich, and then 10 monk tokens for our vintage friends. It also has Slime Time Live, Ave Progenitor Ooze tokens with the power and toughness already built in to make playing in Paper so much easier. No fumbling around with dice. We've got you covered. Make sure to go grab those if you're playing Modern. And then Squirrels versus Goblins, Chatterstorm versus Empty the Warrens, the Battle of the Ages. You definitely need 20 Squirrel tokens and 20 Goblin tokens. You're going to love this mini token pack, I promise. And once again, you can grab that at theepicstorm.com/shop. Okay, the third match. Alex, we're on the play. And we've opened up another hand that just does the thing on turn. How do you feel about that?
It seems pretty good. I think that so the reason why we're jamming a lot more these days is that generally fair blue players are playing fewer force negations in their main deck, especially with maybe 2 copies of the sideboard. So that makes the spin the wheel effect of the taking 40% on turn 1 or the 60% on turn 1 odds in our favor.
So, question for you. Would you rather have 10 goblins on the play, or would you rather put Ad Nauseam on the stack?
It's Ad Nauseam with no mana floating, right?
Correct.
I think I'd rather put goblins into play.
Dark Ritual. Long pause in that dark. Diamond. Right. Hold priority and cast Infernal Tutor. Sacrifice for 3 red. If we had main deck Ave, I would be slime timing 100% of the time. Alright, so it resolved.
Pith is 5, Writ is 6, Writ is 7,
We don't have
Tutor
enough
is
mana.
8, Tendrils is 9, so we don't have a clean Pith loop here.
Well, we don't have enough mana.
Yeah,
So I'm just
even if
trying
we
to,
did have the mana.
yeah. I think we should.
Yeah.
Turns out they were on Black Red Reanimator, and we're gonna look like dummies. Vermoon Gristlebrand, don't you dare do that to me. Don't you do it. Concedes the game. All right, I am a fan of that. So more of my opponents should just concede the game. Facts.
I do love it when my opponents concede the game.
So we're going into game
So
2 blind. How would you board?
I think I would put some number of Boseiju in my deck and an Abrupt Decay in my deck.
Hmm. Okay. Well, what are you boarding out? Are we just siding out the Preordains and the Rain?
Yeah.
Going up to 17 lands. That's an Alex McKinley recommendation, everyone. If it doesn't pan out, you know who to blame.
Yeah. Lands are good. Put more of them in your deck.
All right. So I'm fine keeping this. I think this hand's fine.
Yeah. It's a little bit slower than some of the hands we've been keeping, but it plays Magic.
You know how in like 2018 everyone described the Epic Storm, or Southern Delver, as like the Goblin Storm deck? Well, based on our matches today, I'd argue that the Goblin Storm deck is actually in. I'm just throwing that out.
Sure.
Let's see these. So we're facing the Delver
So
matchup. This is a matchup where in post-board games we can bring in the carpets and the P.
yeah, definitely want to make some changes based upon knowing what's going on here. But this is an interesting decision because I think you could make a case for taking any of these cards, but we might just have to take the Pyroblast
Yeah, I was
because
thinking that as
the
well.
only action in our hand is the Ponder.
All right, Delver Secrets flips to Force of Will, classic. Wouldn't have it any other way. They're choosing to pre.
I hate to see it.
All right, so we're gonna fall to 15 life. Draw. Misty
The
Rainfall.
good thing that this deck isn't life shuttle constrained most of the time. We can just force through with the Past and Flames. That's the wrong tutor for Past and Flames, but for the most
Yeah,
part, these cards are pretty good.
I think we keep it anyway. That's the turn. This is going to be one of those like don't surgical that scenarios, right? Where our opponent for some reason just decides to surgical our ponders and I get mega punished because I stacked it that way. Yeah,
Probably.
I was supposed to draw Wish Claw there and then keep ponder on top. Okay. Misty Rainforest.
Attraction, a very powerful card, but can be a tad overrated.
Expressive Iteration.
So we do have our opponent's one Force of Will answered with this Veil of Summer. Ooh, that's brutal.
No, they have 4 cards in hand. We know that one of them is Force.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we're drawing Wish Claw. We know our top card is Thoughtseize. I think I'm just gonna sit pretty for a little bit. I don't know if that's the right move or not, but it's what I'm going to do. So then next turn we can play Thoughtseize into Wish Claw, losing 4 life. So we'll be at 5. And then on our following turn we have to find a win.
Yeah. I might have decided to use the mana there and play the Wishclaw Talisman. Because I don't know how good this Thoughtseize is actually going to be, but our opponent's cantripping a lot, so it's possible that their hand might end up pretty stacked.
I think you're supposed to. And the real reason is that the Delver deck can just win. Or well, we can just win without using our life total as a resource, and I think we might want to try to create a big like storm fight with them, possibly.
Yep.
But I want to gain a little bit of info. So we're gonna go down to 7 and cast this Thoughtseize. Well, that's certainly.
Wow. Force stays.
So we're going to go to 6 and cast Ponder. I'm gonna hold the Wish Claw for now. Don't need those, so let's shuffle.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely some missed sideboarding after not knowing what our opponent's on, which that's the value of conceding without showing us a card. So.
And drawing a land was not good because we need storm spells. Well, spells to create storm, I should say, for our next turn. But we're going to 3. If they don't have a lightning bolt here, we get to do the going to 1 life and attempting to win the game thing.
Mm-hmm.
Reveals Volcanic Island. Not red mana. That's fun. So you're saying there's a chance. Okay, enter upkeep, I'm going to fetch to thin. I have to imagine our odds of winning this game right now are like sub 2%.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, Boseiju. I don't think there's a single card that does it here. Outside of like maybe a Miracle Brainstorm.
Yeah. Well, let's cast some spells.
Force it. They forced. We will day or not days. Veil of Summer, and we can pay for days.
So opponent chooses to cast today, so Storm is 5.
I think I'm going to keep
Yeah,
the
we can just
fetch
play with the
up,
floating.
because if we do draw Brainstorm. All right.
So clearly this loss was my fault given my sideboarding recommendations. So
All right, so we're not technically dead yet. Actually, wait, I think we are. There's no 2 cards that win. So we activate Wish Claw, and then we get Brainstorm, and I don't think there's 2 cards that win off the Brainstorm.
if we brainstorm into darker tendrils.
Oh yeah, my bad. I forget it's 3, not 2.
Yeah.
All right, so come on, perfects. Brainstorm. All 3 sideboard cards. We have that going on for us.
All right. Well,
but we do get to showcase the carpets in game number.
Yes. So let's change up this sideboarding quite a bit.
So I like carpets here. I like the Peer into the Abyss. I am not interested in Boseiju or the Abrupt Decay.
Agree.
So we're 1 card over. We just board out the Ad Nauseam. That's how I would recommend board.
Yeah, this feels good to me. All right.
Game number 3 on the play versus Blue-Red Delver. This is fine.
Yep.
Just needed one of those action spell things.
So there's an interesting decision here about how to play around Wasteland of like, do you fetch Island to cast Ponder, or do you accept that Misty is going to be your green source?
I believe Misty's are green source. I think that's playing too afraid. But this is pretty good.
Ding, ding, ding.
So I think we stack it like this, and this plays around Surgical. And then next turn, we do the thing, or at least we attempt to.
Yeah.
So it's worth... Ooh, black. They're Grixis?
Wow. Huh?
They have 6 cards. So here's the question, Alex. We can cast Veil preemptively, or Dark Ritual. So this is 5, 8 mana. I guess, like, theoretically, you could go... I guess there's a Piff line into something.
Yeah. I think I would start on the Dark Ritual. I think we kind of lose to Force Days in, like, kind of no matter how we sequence it. But...
Yeah, let's start on Dark.
I don't know.
That just resolved. I think I want to try. Dark Ritual again. Lions at Diamond. Really worried about Surgical here. So we boarded out the Ad Nauseam, which is the card I'd actually want to get here. So I think we just empty.
I like emptying.
We can also cast the Past Influence, which would give us a clean kill, I believe, but it would actually lose the days.
Yeah.
So do we want to risk losing to end the festivities, which Alex covered in the beginning of this video, or do we want to Past in Flames for the clean Tendrils of Agony?
So if we piff, then we go down to 2 mana. We rid up to 4, rid up to 6, and then we lose to days.
So I think you're supposed to just empty and say, hey, if you have end the festivities, you have end the festivities. Because not only do we lose the days, we lose the Surgical as well. So
and there's 6 cards that Past in Flames loses to, and 1 to 2 cards that empty loses to.
Correct. So you just play to the better odds.
Yeah.
When it reveals days. Ponder.
Shuffle.
Wasteland?
Shuffle.
Okay. They did shuffle. You can't destroy my lands. I'll destroy my... All right, so get in there with the Goblin Army. Alex, when was the last time you emptied this much?
It has been a long time since I've emptied this much.
Like, these are a lot of goblins. Like, we don't make goblins this often in the Epic Storm.
Yeah, it's usually because you have better options like echoing or peering or ad nauseams that are higher percentage to win the game.
For sure.
Oh, I think our opponent just didn't have red mana.
Yeah, our
They
opponent
sent us a chat message saying that they had the end the festivities.
Yeah, I'll take it. We're 2-1. Hey, you're still watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you're looking to make a purchase from Card Hoarder, TCG Player, or Amazon and are looking to support us, you can open up our description down below, and in there you will find our affiliate links. Those same links are found on the homepage of the Epic Storm. But that's not all. We've included a Card Hoarder button on our website that will load the Epic Storm in your Card Hoarder cart to make life simple for you. Okay, Alex, we're on the draw. We have a handful of lands and spells. What do you think?
This hand plays Magic the Gathering real well. Let's go.
I'll be honest, you became a robot right there. I didn't really hear you, but I'm going to pretend you said keep.
That is, in fact, what I did say. I think the internet's being real weird today, so.
Yeah, if you hear any robotic sounds from Alex today, we're sorry. Okay,
we blame Discord.
That was actually pretty good. I think I'm going to hold the Thoughtseize for now, because you don't want to Thoughtseize, have your opponent hide Force of Will with Brainstorm, and then next turn come back trying to win.
Yeah. We could also do the good old trick of Infernal Tutor for Thoughtseize.
Yes. Although I feel like right now, based on the current 7 cards we have in hand, mana is a little bit of a choke point. I could also see Infernal Tutor for lines.
True.
Preordain. That's interesting. That tells me that they might be a combo deck. I drew the empty. That's a little awkward.
Yeah, we only have 4 mana in our hand right now, because we're not particularly close to threshold.
So I think we're going to Infernal Tutor, and I don't hate the Thoughtseize idea. And then I think I might even be willing to sacrifice Lotus Petal, just in case they are like a blue-white Omni or something. I just don't want to lose if they are a combo. Thoughtseize on the step. It's just not too often you see Preordain in fair decks now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see it in Delver to enable more sorceries for Dragon Trade's channel account. I haven't caught up with how all the Jeskai Breacher decks are building their cantrip base these days. It seems to change all the time, so.
Forest Pitching Pond.
But, yeah, we'll take that 2 for 2.
Mana number 3.
Ooh. Brutal.
Step back to the Stone Age. Okay, we're not out of this yet. We can still win.
Yep, we have lands to draw and such, but that's a brutal one.
Okay, passing the turn. Basic Mountain. I think I'm just gonna play. Like if they get endinged, who cares? I don't know if there's like I guess maybe you could argue that you're supposed to discard the empty. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but that was a particularly brutal interaction. I guess we could have fetched Swamp at some point, but I don't think that that's worth it versus Tundra. There's not too many main deck back to basics these days. But
there was the ending. 2 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Stoneforge.
Stoneforge Mystic.
Okay. I mean, that Preordain really caught me off guard, but
yeah.
I'm gonna go to the next. We don't need.
Yeah, I think we got overly scared by the Preordain.
Yeah.
But we would have kind of gotten screwed anyway, because we had Cabal Ritual, not Dark Ritual. So.
All right, so I'm definitely interested in Boseiju here. Interested in Abrupt Decay, Carpets. And how do you feel about Pure versus Ad Nauseam?
They're really close. I think I don't like Empty in the matchup.
Yeah, Empty I was already playing on board. But would you rather have Ad Nauseam or Pure? So this is draw, which is something that's relevant in the matchup if they are a Hull Breacher deck. We saw Stoneforge Bistic, but that doesn't mean that they're not a Hull Breacher.
Or Narset.
Yeah.
Uh,
So once again, I think we can cut the Preordains, cut the Arena Filth. That brings us to 62. I think you can shave on one prism or one Wishclaw Talisman, and then one land. But here's the thing: I don't want to board out a basic versus the back to basic. So I think you're either boarding out a Misty or Underground Sea #2.
I think I'd cut the Misty. It's really close though.
And that's 60. So I think I'd want to keep Ad Nauseam, especially when we're boarding out the empty. I think that makes it better.
Yes.
Let's go. Once again, there's some argument deciding in Fluster. I don't like that versus control decks because we are the Lion's Eye Diamond combo deck. It doesn't feel right to me. This is pretty good. We'll try this. So my plan here is to cast Thoughtseize, turn 1 off of Underground Sea, turn 2, play Delta, Brainstorm, Fetch, and probably get a basic, but we'll decide after seeing all the information. Thoughtseize. There's a Narset. What do you think about just taking the Brainstorm? Is that the wrong choice? Like, is that the worst card in the hand? I mean, other than the same. Because I feel like taking a Force here is like not that impactful.
So if we take the Force of Negation, we could start to think about like a Pass in Flames grind plan.
My thought is we can come back later with more protection to beat these. Like, these don't actually matter right now. Or if we take the Brainstorm, we can slow down their
development.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is either that or we take the Narset. Like, I think you could make a case for taking Brainstorm, Force Negation, or Narset. I think if I was playing, I would take the Force Negation, but you can take whichever.
I am not interested in taking either. So, but to me, it's between Brainstorm and Narset. Which one do you think is better?
I think we take the Brainstorm because they only have 2 lands currently, and while they do play a lot of lands, like there's a chance they might miss on Narset on 3.
I think that we'll be able to beat the Force. Like, I think that's playing like really afraid of the Force of Negation. Brainstorm. I think we can chuck Boseiju for now. And probably even a Cabal Ritual. Like, we just don't need 2 Cabal Rituals.
Not at this point. Like, I think we just want to spend more time spinning wheels, get more cards in graveyard, hit threshold, and start to churn through these forces.
Okay, so they're fetching. Draw Stoneforge. And a Nest.
Yes.
So we do have a Boseiju on top of our deck. I don't know which card it is because I wasn't paying enough attention. I think Ball Ritual's actually the top card, but
yeah.
I think we just brainstorm.
Yeah.
Question is, do we keep both Veil of Summers? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. It's possible we could have wanted to draw or to keep the Ponder, but we'll see.
Well, part of the plan of leaving them with double force is that eventually we just grind them out with a bunch of disruption. So I don't think I love that. And I think we'll see a change eventually in the Legacy metagame where effects like Canonist start to go away if Boseiju remains popular. Just because Boseiju can kill Canonist where we can't kill like a Meddling Mage or something, for example, right?
Yeah, we definitely want to find Bayou here, right? Which, it is awkward for the back to basics plan, but...
What's a back to basics?
That's fair. Notably, this does give our opponent land 3 for Narset, which is an awkward point. So maybe we were supposed to wait. Or does that suggest Pyroblast?
I think I want to make them afraid.
I think I like this plan.
First pitching Snap. Okay, and then let's Veil of Summer. We know that they have Batterskull and then these 2.
And one unknown.
Force pitching Narset. So they have one unknown card. Based on Alex's read, this could be a Pyroblast. If it is, oh well. Alright, so they have just Batterskull left. That's not the worst. We're pretty close to being able to Ad Nauseam next. Draw. Does that do it? Yes, we can put Ad Nauseam.
I vote we do it.
We're at 13 life with no land drop, so yeah.
It ain't getting better though.
So technically we're allowed to do the old school thing here, where you cast Infernal Tutor to beat Vendilion Click. Then Cabal Ritual, so that way they never get a chance to click you with Infernal Tutor in hand. Not super relevant in 2020 Legacy. Then again, our opponent's playing Stoneforge Mystic. I am not putting it past them to not be playing Vanilla.
Yeah, that's a trick that I don't know how often I've used because I think that Vendilion Click was unplayable by the time I started getting serious about Legacy.
Alright.
So alright, show me Lotus Petal.
There's also the plan of, okay, well, there's a petal of, we're going to just draw and then stay above 5. So that way they can untap, they can hit us for 5 and we still live. So for example, we'd probably have to stop now and then try to win next turn. Do we think we have a better chance of winning in the next 6 life or untapping and win?
I have no idea. So we need to find one of
we need a dark
3
ritual.
petals or
4 dark ritual.
4 dark. So we have 7 hits that wins. So that's 1 in 5.
We also have to reveal a tutor. Because we don't have it.
Yes. True.
So
I guess like we're asking the question, does Ponder Brainstorm and no protection because we're going to be at 1 from the Batterskull?
I want to flip. We're the Ad Nauseam deck. Let's do it. Infernal Tutor. So now
There's
we just need a
Infernal
dark ritual or a petal.
Okay.
We flipped. Let's pop this out.
Island.
Snow covered island. Wish Claw. So now it has to be petal or dark ritual. Right?
Now just petal. Or I guess you could like petal Brainstorm. That's an option we've had for a while, but
yeah. I think we're supposed to petal Brainstorm. Is that crazy?
I think it is because you need to find 2 things. I'd have to do the math later, but
Alright, so we have 3 petals left.
So that's a 1 in, so we have 10% to flip a petal. Versus drawing 2 petals, or petal Darkrit in our top 3.
Exactly. So I think petal Darkrit is the most realistic. You could also draw LED Past and
Yes.
Actually, LED Past and Flames does not do it. Because
we don't have any Dark Rituals anywhere.
Yeah. So we have 4 Dark Rituals, 3 petals. No.
So I think most of the Brainstorm outs involve drawing a petal anyway. So I think flipping is
correct. So there's also the argument that they could have another Pyroblast and then Brainstorm just loses.
Yes.
Let's flip. So let's now flip 2 more and see if petal would have won. Should have brainstormed, Alex. Should have brainstormed.
I guess, yeah.
All right, so we lost this. We are now 2-2. Womp womp. If you're looking for more great Magic the Gathering content, definitely check out the Eternal Glory podcast. It is myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Koval and Phil Gallagher. We primarily discuss Legacy. That said, a lot of what we talk about transcends all formats. We're available on all major podcast platforms. All right, match number 5, Alex. I'd like to get this one. Let's do it. I think we keep this hand. What do you think?
That sounds pretty good, yeah.
Great.
We can fetch our island, cast our preordain, and go to town.
So in between games, Alex and I were talking about how let's go grab the basic island. How Carpet of Flowers is actually not there too, because we had 3 carpets that acted as Dark Ritual. So it means that the Petal or the Brainstorm into Petal plus Dark Ritual line actually gave you 7 Dark Rituals to brainstorm into.
Yeah, it's possible that that was just better. Are we getting hit by main deck Pyroblast here? Or are we getting dazed?
Maybe.
This is an ambitious daze if that's the case.
Birdane? Sure.
Wow. Okay.
Birdane isn't even a playable card. Why would you daze that?
uh,
Sure.
sure. Okay. I think I'm just slamming Claw here. Unless our opponent's like glutted on dazes, but like whatever.
So where's our swamp? Claw. Good deal. That's a win in my book.
Yeah, opponent is very aggressive with their counter magic, not letting us resolve any spells at all.
Think we'll die before we resolve a spell?
I think we're gonna resolve a lot of spells this game, Bryant.
All right. Murktide, are you sure? Are you sure we're gonna resolve a lot of spells?
Yeah, that's a big dragon.
Ponder.
Opponent is just on the get us dead plan, I guess, but
Warren's is not good enough. That said, I
no.
don't hate the Dark Ritual.
Yeah, I think we can take the Dark Ritual and shuffle away the other 2 cards.
Yes, and if they cast a blue spell on their turn, I'm going to cycle Veil of Summer.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
I might just cast Veil of Summer anyway because we can't get Hellbent with 2 of them in our.
Yeah. I wonder if this deck is supposed to have, I don't know. It's so awkward that all of your sources are blue-black or blue-X, except for the Bayou.
It's possible. I don't know when the last time people thought about redesigning the end. I can't answer.
Yeah. Like, it's been the accepted thing that you just play the 2 basics, the 2 underground seas, and then the 2 extra green lands. But I wonder if that's correct, just feeling this tension here. Not any deep thoughts, just whatever.
I think if you were trying to play devil's advocate, not that I'm disagreeing with you, but I think if you want to play devil's advocate, you could say, well, you made that decision by fetching for base.
True.
So I'm not sure. But our opponent has 1 card in hand. They're about to drop to 2 with their Mishra's Bauble. We're taking 10, so we'll be at 7 life. And I'm going to cycle a Veil of Summer. Because they cast a Brainstorm.
I'd like to see Lion's Eye Diamond. That's the card I think we want the most.
And Veil. Okay. So I think best case scenario is that they forcible Dark Ritual.
Yeah, I think we just put Dark Rit on the stack without playing the Underground Sea.
That just resolves. We can't pass in Flames because we don't have red mana.
Yep. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 9 mana, 9 minus. So we can play our land now. I think we just cast Thoughtseize and see what happens.
See if they respond with like a bolt or something, create some storm.
Yeah. Sprite Dragon. Okay.
So we have to cast Veil of Summer in order to get Hellbent, so it's not really a decision we can. So it's like pretty free. We're gonna Filth. Cast Infernal Tutor.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing we can do is put Ad Nauseam on the stack from 4 life. Because we don't have any red.
Is that? So what if we find Ponder?
Into Tendrils? That's from
That's
6/7. That's 1 storm.
Yeah. Wow, what an aggressive line from our opponent that just like really clocked us. impressive. But yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have a Miracle Ad Nauseam.
Yep.
LED, LED, Lotus Petal, Inferno 2. Let's go. I like how they make snow mana, by the way.
Yeah, that's the way snow permanents work, is that whenever they make mana.
Yes! All right. Perfect. So we did not win game
that was
number
brutal.
1. Okay. So I'm interested in Carpet here and the Peer into this Biss. Take out the Preordains and the right.
Rain of filth.
Oh, my bad. ROF. I mean, they're both Rite of Flame, Rain of Filth. You know what I mean. One of them significantly better than the other. It's fine.
Yeah, one of them is good in multiples and the other one is not.
What do you mean? Rain of Filth in multiples is totally great.
Imagine if they stacked such that the second was lands get sack add BB, the third was add BBB, and so on and so forth.
Imagine how long that text box would.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a clean way to do that.
Whenever you would sacrifice a swamp this turn, it provides an additional black. All swamps gain sacrifice this land. All swamps gain sacrifice this land until end of turn. Whenever you would sacrifice a swamp, it adds an additional black. Did that work?
Until end of turn, lands you control gain sacrifice this land, add B for each Rain of Filth in your graveyard. That's the cleanest way to do it.
Okay. So I don't know if this hand was actually a keep, but I decided. So it's a little risky because we don't have land 2, and we have to fetch for Underground Sea here because it was Misty. So maybe this should have been a mulligan, but I don't feel like it is. They have Murktide. I think we just take the brains.
Yeah. Knowing that they have daze makes it pretty easy to play around. We can just like put another Thoughtseize on the stack next turn, just like see if they daze it. Which I think, given the way our opponent aggressively countered everything last game, they might. Especially with the Darcy in play. That's kind of brutal.
Yeah. Okay. Draw. I'm going to brainstorm, I think.
I like that.
On deck. What?
Opponent wants to surveil Bryant and put their Murktide into play.
Oh, jeez. Sure, you got me. I've sacrificed Lotus Petal. No. Why? Why? Oh, we just lost.
Oh, that's brutal. I don't know. Maybe we should have considered our mulligan button.
I mean, isn't Ant like the 16 Landstorm deck?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. All right. So I'm sorry, Tyler. This league did not go as desired. I'm gonna just
clearly because of our sideboard changes, Bryant.
I mean, someone can argue that somewhere. But obviously we got punished here.
Let us know in the YouTube comments.
Oh yeah, definitely. You could argue that my hand in the final game should have been a mulligan. I'm willing to believe that. I do think it was fine, but I could also see where the mulligan, like, it's fine. I don't have strong opinions on that. I will say the tension between Veil of Summer and Hellbent, I definitely felt twice in this video.
Yeah, also the way Veil of Summer interacts with your mana. Like, Veil of Summer getting cast off by you is so awkward. Agreed. It just never comes up. And that's one of the reasons why in designing the mana base for the Epic Storm, it notably doesn't include a value.
True. So it's a little unfortunate. We boarded in Carpet 3 times and never really saw it. So we didn't get to showcase that, but I do think I would run a sideboard like this one rather than the 9 ants. I would strongly recommend that.
Yeah.
Alex, any final thoughts?
No, I think this deck, it does what it does. New cards are not scary.
I do think the 2 copies of Boseiju are upgrades. They were a little awkward because we didn't know we were facing Delver, I wouldn't blame Boseiju for that. It's just, you know, they weren't situationally good there. It happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alex, thank you for joining us. I do appreciate it. That's all.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.